Now in this video lecture firstly is in continuation to our previous video lecture where we were discussing regarding hybridization containing d orbitals, right? And we were done with two hybridization. The first was sp3 dehybridization, right? And the example was pf5 molecule, and the second was sp3 d2 hybridization and the molecule was sf6, right? And the geometry for this was octahedral, right? Octahedral geometry for this molecule that has 6 sp3d2 hybrid orbitals, right? Now the third type of hybridization involving d orbital is your sp3d3 hybridization, right? An example of compound in which the central atom has sp3d3 hybridization is an interhalogen compound. The name of the compound is IF7, right? This is an interhalogen compound which is made up of two halogens, iodine and fluorine. We know both these are halogens, right? So this is an interhalogen compound. Okay, fine. So in this molecule, the central iodine atom, right, has sp3d3 hybridization, right? So let's look at it. First we'll write down the ground state electronic configuration of outer shell of iodine, and iodine belongs to the fifth period of the periodic table, right? Iodine belongs to fifth period of periodic table. Fifth period means it has maximum n shells, it has maximum of 5 shell, right? So the outermost fifth shell, we would be looking into the electronic configuration of outermost fifth shell, right? So this belongs to the fifth period, and its ground state configuration, ground state electronic configuration would be 5s2, 5p2, 5py2, 5pz1, right? This is the ground state electronic configuration, right, for iodine atom. Now the second step in hybridization is we write excited state electronic configuration, right? So excited state electronic configuration would be when one electron from each of these s, p, x, p, y orbital would be shifted to the d orbitals, right? And in this compound or in this hybridization, sp3d3 hybridization, the d orbitals involved are dxy, dyz and dxz orbitals, right? So excited state electronic configuration would be 5s1. In excited state we would be promoting 1 electron from s, 5s, 5px, 5py to empty d orbitals, right? 5s1, 5px1, sorry, it's 5px, right? 5py1, 5pz1, right? Then is your 5dxy1, 5dyz1, 5dxz1. So how many half filled orbitals now we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And we have 5 fluorine atoms, right? And the electronic configuration for fluorine is 1s2. I'll just write it over here. It's electronic configuration I have already written. This is the electronic configuration for fluorine: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3px2, 3py2 and 3pz1, right? So this half filled orbital of fluorine, of 5 fluorine atoms, right, will overlap with each of these half filled orbitals, right? But before that we will be doing hybridization. Hybridization is mixing and merging right, of mixing and merging of 1s plus 1 2 3 3p and 3d orbitals, right, to form 7 equivalent set of sp3d3 orbitals, right, to form 7 equivalent sp3d3 orbitals, half filled orbitals, right. And since we have 7 sp3d3 orbitals which are obtained by hybridization of these 7 orbitals, right, 1s 3p and 3d. So the geometry that would be obtained on hybridization of these 7 orbitals would be pentagonal bipyramidal, right. So the geometry of the molecule would be pentagonal bipyramidal, right, pentagonal, just write it, a pentagonal bipyramidal, pentagonal bipyramidal, right. And pentagonal bipyramidal has 7 corners, right, and we have these 7 orbitals like this, right, singly filled, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, right, and all these orbitals are 7 sp3d3 orbitals, right. Now each of this orbital will overlap with 3pz orbital of fluorine atom, right, this fluorine atom, 3pz orbital of fluorine atom. Similarly this, right, to form compound IF7, right, 3pz 3pz 3pz, right, to form compound IF7, sorry, it's IF7, right, and iodine atom is sp3d3 hybridized, right, and the geometry is pentagonal bipyramidal, right. In this pentagonal bipyramidal, 7 of the fluorine atoms are directed towards the corners of the pentagon, and 2 orbitals would be, one would be above the plane of pentagon and one would be below the plane of pentagon, right. This is how the geometry looks like. Let's just quickly draw it. It would be, it's simple the way we draw the pentagon. It's like this, 1 2 3 4 5, right, and this is the center of pentagon, right. So we have like this. I'm just showing the bigger lobe of the orbital. We know we have 2 lobes in the orbital like this, right. The other is the smaller lobe. This is the positive one, right. So these are 5 orbitals, right, sp3d orbitals, right, 5 sp3d orbitals. One is this and the other is this, right. These are perpendicular. If you draw it like this to show it more clearly, this is your central iodine, it would be like this. These are 5 corners of the pentagon where these sp3 hybrid orbitals are oriented, right. 5 sp3 hybrid orbitals are oriented at the corners of the pentagon, right, where these will overlap with these 5 fluorine atoms, singly filled fluorine atoms, or what we say is the half filled 3pz orbital of fluorine atoms, right. So here we have fluorine atoms, right, and you have like this, one fluorine atom here, one fluorine atom here. So these two are axial bonds, right, this bond, this one and this one is axial bond, which is perpendicular to the plane of the pentagon. This is perpendicular to the plane of the pentagon above, this one is perpendicular to the plane of the pentagon below, right. So the angle between these bonds is 72 and 90, right. So angle between equatorial bonds, angle between these bonds, right, which are directed towards the pentagon is 72, and the angle between this bond and this bond is your 90 degree, right. So these two are bond angles in the molecule of iodine fluoride, right, IF7 molecule, right. So 5 equatorial bonds, right, form an angle of 72 degree with each other, whereas remaining 2 axial bonds, which are perpendicular to the plane of the pentagon, makes an angle of 90 degree with equatorial bonds, right. So 7 bonds are not equivalent. These are not equivalent bonds, right. The angle between equatorial bonds, these are equatorial bonds, right, and these are your axial bonds, right. Angle that axial bond is making with equatorial bond is 72 degree, whereas the angle between axial bond and equatorial bond is 90 degree, and angle between equatorial bonds is 72 degree, right. So all bonds are not equivalent. Now there is another, first make sure that, let's just quickly revise it, right. So sp3d3 hybridization, right. In this we have taken the example of this interhalogen compound IF7, which belongs to the 5th period of the periodic table. So it has 5 shells. So outermost shell is the 5th shell. Electronic configuration of the outermost shell is 5s2, 5px2, 5py2, and then 5pz1, right, 5pz1. So in the excited state, when promotion takes place, one electron from 5s, 5px, 5py, 5s2, 5px2, 5py2 would be promoted to the empty d orbitals, these 3 d orbitals. So now we have 7 d orbitals, right. We have 7 half filled d orbitals, which will undergo mixing and merging and will redistribute their energy to form 7 equivalent set of sp3d3 orbitals, right, which are directed towards the corners of the pentagon, right, and 2 of them are above and below the plane of the pentagon, perpendicular to the plane of the pentagon, right. So the geometry of the molecule, or the geometry of the molecule that has central atom with sp3d3 hybridization, is your pentagonal bipyramidal, right. This is your pentagonal bipyramidal that has axial bonds and equatorial bonds. Equatorial bonds are directed towards the corners of the pentagon, and axial bonds are above and below the plane of the pentagon, right. And angle between equatorial bond is 72, whereas angle between axial and equatorial bond is 90 degree, right. There is another type of hybridization that we will be doing is your, let me just rub this off. We have dsp2 hybridization, right. We would be doing these hybridization in detail in coordination chemistry also, right. So dsp2 hybridization and all these hybridization, we would be taking more examples there. So just follow when I will be teaching coordination chemistry. For hybridization, we have dsp2 hybridization. There is one important thing that you should know about this dsp2 hybridization. if you remember in the previous video lecture, I've just started with this, right, where I said that 3D orbital has nearly equal energy with 4s and 4p orbital, right, and 3p and 3s orbital, right. So it can hybridize with 3s and 3p, right, like this 3s, 3p and 3d can hybridize, or 3d can hybridize with higher shell orbitals like 4s and 4p. Why? Because these have nearly equal energies. So here it can hybridize like this, dsp, right, d orbital, and these s and p of higher orbitals, fourth orbital, can hybridize. So we would be looking into this over here. Here the d orbital would be of lower subshell, d orbital would be of lower shell, and s and p orbital would be of higher shell, right, in dsp2 hybridization. You just have to remember this, right. And the example for this is there is an iron nickel tetracyanide, NiCN whole 4 to the power of everything to the power of -2, right. So the important thing about this is that the d orbital involved, right, which is dx square minus y square, right, of lower quantum shell n, right, of lower n, quantum shell is denoted by n, right, and the s and p orbitals, 1s and 2p orbitals, would be of higher quantum shell of nearly same energy, like I explained here. This d and 4s 4p, 3d, 4s and 4p are of nearly same energy, right. So these will form 4 set of hybrid orbitals, because we have 4 orbitals. Here you can see we have 4 orbitals, 1d, 1s and 2p orbitals will hybridize to form 4 equivalent set of orbitals, right, and that would be directed towards the corners of the square, right. So the geometry that these orbitals will occupy after hybridization would be square planar geometry, right. Just a little about this, and rest we will do in coordination chemistry. The important thing about this is that you have d of lower subshell, right, d of lower subshell and n-1 say, and s and p of higher subshell n, right. So the d orbital involved is dx square minus y square, right. So here we would be having 4 orbitals, 4 dsp2 orbitals, right, and the geometry that the molecules that have central atom as dsp2 hybridized would be square planar. It would be square planar. An example is NiCN whole 4, NiCN4 minus 2. This is the example of the molecule in which nickel have dsp2 hybridization, and this molecule as a whole is square planar with 4 CN groups directed towards the 4 corners of the square, right. So this is it. One way that we can look at it, since we are done with all these hybridization, if you look at this, let's try to look at the shape of these molecules from VSEPR theory, right. This molecule, which is your PF5, this molecule was PF5. This molecule is of type AB5, right, in which A is central atom, right, and is surrounded by 5 bond pairs, right. A is like this, A is like this, right? A is surrounded by 5 bond pairs with B, right? So this molecule is of AB5 type, and we know though that as per VSEPR theory, these are 5 bond pairs, right? And all these will repel one another. So when they repel one another, these bond pairs will move as far apart from each other as possible. They will move as away from one another as possible, right? And when they move away from one another, they will acquire positions, right? They will acquire certain positions around the central atom A, right? Such that their geometry would be the same as this sp3d hybridization, right? It would be, the geometry is, and the orientation of these bond pairs, right, where they can be maximum away from one another, where the 5 bond pairs can be maximum away from one another, is your pentagonal bipyramid. I'm sorry, not pentagonal, trigonal bipyramid. So this explanation is from VSEPR theory, right? If the central atom is sp3 sp3d hybridized, right, the shape of the molecule is trigonal bipyramidal, or if the central atom is surrounded by 5 bond pairs, they will repel one another and move away from one another, and the geometry that they will get, right, so such that these bond pairs are at maximum distance from one another would be possible. Their maximum distance would be possible only if the 5 bond pairs will acquire trigonal bipyramidal shape, right? Similarly, if you look at this molecule is AB6 type, right, where A is surrounded by 6 atoms of B, right? So you have 6 bond pairs around this central atom, right? Now 6 bond pairs will try to move away from one another, right, so that there is minimum repulsion or no repulsion, so that there is no further repulsion between these bond pairs, right? Why no further repulsion? Because repulsion will increase the energy and destabilize the molecule, right? So in order to acquire maximum stability, these bonds, right, these bond pairs will move away from one another, right? So when they move away from one another, since it has 6 bond pairs, the geometry that it will acquire for stable configuration is your octahedral geometry. From VSEPR theory, this is the explanation that you will give, right? That 6 bond pairs that are surrounding this central atom, right, will acquire octahedral geometry in which these 6 bond pairs would be far away from one another in order to give maximum stability to the molecule, right? And the possible geometry in that case would be, when you have 6 bond pairs, is octahedral geometry, right? Similarly, if you come to this, here the molecule is of the type AB7, right? We have done this in the beginning. The molecule is of the type AB7, where this A is surrounded by 7 bond pairs, right? When A is surrounded by 7 bond pairs, now these bond pairs will repel one another, right? All these 7 bond pairs, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, right, like this. All these bond pairs, 7 bond pairs, will repel one another and move away from one another, such that there is minimum or no repulsion between the bond pairs. When there is no repulsion between the bond pairs, energy of the molecule is minimum. When the energy is minimum, the stability is maximum, right? So the positions that these bond pairs will take, right, on getting repelled from one another would be your pentagonal bipyramidal. In this geometry, these 7 bond pairs that are surrounding this central A atom will acquire pentagonal bipyramidal pyramid shape, so that these bond pairs have minimum or zero repulsion, right, so as to keep this molecule stable, right? So I hope all this is clear. In the next video lecture, we would be looking into a technique where we can predict the hybridization of the central atom in molecules, right? Thanks.